Gita, chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhvamulam Adha Shakham Ashvatam Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Adhaschordhavam prasritastasya shakha guna pravriddha vishaya pravala adhascha mulani anusantatani karmanubandini manushaloke. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Okay, so we have a lot of devotees on call. Ramya Prabhu, would you like to read the next two verses?
Narupam asyeya tato palabhyate nanto na chadirna cha sampratista aspatam enam su viruda mulam asanga astrena dridena chitva tata padam tat parimargitvayam ayasmin gatana nivartanti bhuya tam eva chadyam purusham prapadye nyatha praviti parista purani The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with a weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. Nirmana moha jita sangadosha adhyatma nitya vinivrita kama dvandvar vimukta sukha dukkha sabhyar gachanti amuda padam avyayam tat. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the duality of happiness and distress, and who are unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person and attain to that eternal kingdom. More?
Others can also read.
Hare Krishna. Text 6. Natad bhasyate suryo na sasananko na pavakha yadghatvana nivratante tadhama paramam mama. The supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Mamaivamso jivaloke jivabhutha sanatana manha sasthanidriyani prakriti shanti karsati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditional life, they are struggling very hard with these 6 senses, which included in the mind. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Shriram yadvapinoti yachapyutkramati shura gritvaitani sanyati payurgandhani vashyat. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. श्रोत्रम चक्षुस्पर्शनम च रसनम घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains one certain type of ear, eyes, tongue, nose, and sense to touch with, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys an particular set the sense objects.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Ramesh Prabhu. Thank you, Abhi.
Hare Krishna, text number 10. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunatpitam vimudānānupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्य आत्मानि अवस्थितं यतन्तो अपि अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति चेतसः. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose mind are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Lot of Prabhujis have read, so Lakshmi Mataji, you want to read, and then Jyoti Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Text 1. Yat aditya kadam tejo jagat bhashate akilam yat chandrashmi yat chakshnu tat tejo vidimamakam. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this old world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me. Gam avishya cha bhutani dharayami ahamojasa pushnami chaushadik sharvaha somo bhutva rashatmakaha. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. Aham Vaishva, text 14. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Pranapana Samayuktah Pachami Annam Chaturvidham. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff. Text 15. Sarvasya chaham hidi sannivishtho matta smritirganamapohanam cha vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta kritveda videva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Santa Mataji, and then Kashish Mataji can do.
Hare Krishna. Text 16. Durvav ema purusho loke
अक्षरश्चक्षर एव च चक्षर सर्वाणि भूतानि कुतस्थितोऽक्षर उच्यते. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Text 17. Uttama Purushastva Anya Paramatmeti Udharhata Yo Lokatrayam Avishya Bibharti Avyaya Ishvara. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam to all devotees. Verse number 18. Yasmat aksharam atitoho amaksharadapi cha uttamaha ato asmi loke vede cha pratitah purushottamah. Translation. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. Text 19. Yo mameva sammudo janati purushottamam sah sarva vidhi bhajati mama sarva bhavena bharata. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in the full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
We want to read the last verse.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Iti guyatam mam shastram idam uktam maya nagha itad buddhava buddhiman syat krita krityascha bharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Hare Krishna.
Om Tat Saditi Śrīmad-Bhagavad-Gītāshu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Purushottam Yogo Nama Panchodasha Adhyayaha. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta translations to the 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Thank you so much to all the Vaishnavas for joining and wonderfully reading the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15. This is the third last day of Purushottam month of this 2.5 period. So we just have 2 more days. So let's try to make the maximum of these last 3 days, because we don't know what will happen and where we will be, if we will be after to see the next Purushottam month. So future is only in Krishna's hand, but present we have some role to play. So let's purify ourselves by reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Govardhanadharam Vande Gopala Goparupinam Gokula Utsavameshanam Govindam Gopika Priyam Vande Navaghana Shama Dvibhujam Muralidharam Pitambaradharam Devam Sharadam Purushottamam. So, thank you again to so many wonderful Vaishnavas are present. I'm so grateful to all of you for consistently, regularly joining these calls for our spiritual purification. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is one of the most important scriptures in our life. It's non-different from Sri Hari, Sri Kṛṣṇa. So I'll read one verse. That the life of a devotee is based on Bhagavatam. So this verse is said that Vedai Puranam Kavayam cha Prabhur Mitram Priyev cha Bodhayanti hi Prabhus Trivid Bhagavatam Punah. So, that the Vedas instruct like a master. Veda Puranam Kavayam. Veda instruct like Prabhu. Prabhu is master. Puranas instruct like a friend. Purana Mitram. And the Kavayam, the poetic words of devotees, of Kavis, instruct like a lover, Priya. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam does all the three. So it's so beautiful and poetic. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam instructs like a friend, like a best well-wisher, and also like a teacher. So all glories to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So with this, we will start reading where we left yesterday, and that was at text number 30, Canto 10, Chapter 14, the prayers of Lord Brahma. So, Ramya Prabhu, do you want to read? We are pleasantly surprised by your presence. So, do you have something in mind, or you want to read as per the flow, or you want me to start? Just want to check.
Why don't you go ahead and start it?
Okay, and you can read the next one or so. Okay, I'll get started with your permission. So in the last few texts, we were studying about that how even little mercy, the word used in text number 29 was Lesha Anugrihat. Lesha means little, very little, Lesha Matra. Even little mercy of the lotus feet of Lord can lead to what? Can lead to supreme happiness. One can understand one's true personality. One can be self-realized, and one can be happy. One can be fully devoted. So, with that, let's move on and study more of Lord Brahma's prayers. Text number 30. Tad astu me nath subhuri bhago bhavitravan vanyatra tu tirashcham yenaham ekopi jananam bhutva nisheva tava pada pallavam. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada disciples Ki Jai. My dear Lord, I therefore pray to be so fortunate that in this life as Lord Brahma or in another life, wherever I take my birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. I pray that wherever I may be, even among the animal species, I can engage in devotional service of your lotus feet. So, this is the first Lord Brahma begged for forgiveness, begged for his fault, basically, which is actually a transcendental arrangement for all of us to learn lessons that Lord Brahma, that we should not be proud of our so-called intelligence and we should not try to test the Supreme Lord. So Lord Brahma begged for a lot of forgiveness, genuine forgiveness, with utter humility, with real repentance. And now here is saying, I am willing to become even in an animal species, but I always want to be in the company of my devotees. I may be counted as one of your devotees. So basically, that is the prayer of a devotee. A devotee really does not pray, hey Krishna, take me, save me from this misery, just take me back home, back to God. I don't want to suffer anymore. Lord Chaitanya prays, Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhakti Rahetu Kitvai. That maybe I born in whatever species, but I never be deprived or bereft of the process of Krishna consciousness or bhakti. That even I may take among this birth in a dog or an animal species, but I want to be engaged in your loving devotional service at your lotus feet. So these prayers are pretty common by great souls. And later we know that how Lord Brahma was born as Haridas Thakur. Later this comes in the Srimad Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Navadvip Mahatmya. So how Lord Brahma goes and to a place called Antardvip, and Krishna appears to him in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then reveals that Lord Brahma will be born as Haridas Thakur. So basically, again, the idea is that one may be born in whatever species, one devotee always wants to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and never be deprived from the service of the Lord, whether in heaven or hell, whether in a dog or a human species, whether in any way. Haridas Thakur also prayed for the same thing. Maybe I born as a dog, but I want to be born as a dog in the house of a devotee so I can get some Mahaprasad. I can get some remnants of devotees. Vaishnavira Uchishta Tahimura Mananishtha. So I can get the remnants of devotees and I can always be engaged in the service of the Vaishnavas and the service of your lotus feet. So that's the prayer of Lord Brahma, such beautiful. Any comments or additions on this text? Anyone has any questions here? Okay, who has not read this week and who is really enthusiastic to read today? Please raise your hand. I see Vipul Prabhu is enthusiastic. Okay. 31. Yes, Prabhu.
It's 31. Hoti dhana brajogo ramanayo stannaya mritam pitam atibhote mudha jasham vibho vatchatrat marjatmana yatriptoye adapi no chalam advadha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Joy. Translation: O Almighty Lord, how greatly fortunate are the cows and ladies of Vrindavan, the nectar of whose breast milk you have happily drunk to your full satisfaction, taking the form of their calves and children. All the Vedic sacrifices performed from time immemorial up to the present day have not given you as much satisfaction. Hare Krishna, back to Prabhuji.
Thank you, Vipul Prabhu, for reading this wonderful verse. So, we know this in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, for that 1 year period between 5 and 6 years, when Lord Brahma stole the cowherd boys and the calves of Lord Hari, thinking that let me test Krishna, let me test him. So in that we discussed in the beginning that how Krishna expanded himself as all the calves and as all the cowherd boys. So basically in that 1 year period, Lord Brahma is taking the form of their calves and children. So children here referring to the children of the gopis, the other cowherd boys, and cows, the children of the cows. Lord Krishna satisfied them because that's their Vatsalya Rasa. The mother's Vatsalya Rasa is to feed the child her own milk. And Prabhupada often said that the mother's love is like close to true love because there is no tinge of selfishness there. Mother feeding the child. She just feels naturally happy to feed the child. And that gives her great joy and full satisfaction. And they were in Vrindavan. Everyone had there was a unique thing that everyone loved Krishna more than their own child. No one can love someone other's child more than their own child. I often give this example, like if a neighbor's son is sick and your son is sick, will you take the neighbor's son to the hospital or will you take your son to the hospital? Everyone will say, well, I'll take my son. I like my neighbors. I don't hate him, but I don't love him more than my own child, which is fine. We don't have to be guilty about it. But in Vrindavan, everyone loved Krishna more than their own child. The cows loved Krishna more than their own calf. The gopis loved Krishna more than their own child as a mother. And they were always longing, will we ever get chance to feed Krishna our own breast milk? So Krishna, in one pastime, he does multiple things. Ek baar man Indra ko maryo, nakh upar Govardhan dharyo. So we can also say in this pastime, Ek baar man Brahma ko maryo, and then he drank the milk of the gopis and the cows because that's what they wanted. So he cut the illusion of Brahma. At the same time, he fulfilled the long cherished dream and desire. The spiritual desires are great. I want to feed Krishna. So he simultaneously did both the things to cut off the illusion, Brahma Vimohan Leela of Lord Brahma, and to feed, to be fed by the love of the mothers, of the gopis, of the cows. He simultaneously performed that. That's Lord Krishna. And Lord Brahma is saying that love, that pure, selfless love is much more pleasing to the Lord than the so-called Vedic sacrifices and big prayers and Purusha Shukta and what's not. So in the Braj Bhasha, there's a verse that Krishna likes the gali of the like the slang of the gopis more than the prayers of the brahmanas. So because they are in a much more higher elevated stage and the rasa is there because Krishna sees the unalloyed love, not the external. So basically Krishna fulfilled the desire of the cows and the calves and the gopis and accepted the love in the form of milk from them. So how fortunate are the cows, isn't it? How fortunate are those gopis? They were able to serve Krishna, their life, their soul, their milk. Any other comments or additions, questions?
Yeah, I have a question on the previous previous translation. So I think you said Haridas Thakur is, the Brahma is born as Haridas Thakur. So I'm just a little puzzled because of my limited understanding. How aren't we in the lifespan of one night or one day of Brahma or something? I don't know. That's my question.
Yeah, it's very complex to understand these pastimes. Lord Chaitanya granted Brahma's desire, saying, "So be it." What was his desire? I want to take birth in the association of your devotees and sing your glories. So Lord Chaitanya said, "So be it. You will take birth in the Yavana's house." He was born in a Muslim family, Haridas Thakur. Always thinking of yourself low and fallen, you will be fully freed from pride. Your name will be Haridas Thakur. You will become famous for your humility. So this pastime is a lot about humility, which is the essence of our sadhana. And you will chant 300,000 holy names a day. That's 192 rounds every day, which takes about 22 hours. And at the time of leaving this world, you will see me. Lord Chaitanya personally did the final rites. There's a famous pastime. And at the end of your life, you will attain Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and be absorbed in the eternal rasa. So again, this can be understood in multiple ways. Firstly, we cannot understand. Secondly, the devotees can, expand themselves in be present at multiple places. We have discussed that multiple times. Secondly, it could be different kalpas. So the point is, we can just, I don't know the exact answer, and it's much beyond my comprehension. And we can think in different ways, but the essence is that we cannot understand that now which Brahma, which kalpa it happened. There could be multiple permutations of it. Was he present simultaneously at both the places? Could be. Right? They are not ordinary people. Does that help or complicate further?
Oh, it's all right. It's a big puzzle, but thank you.
Yes. Okay, Umesh Prabhu wants to read the next verse, so let's go ahead. Read text number 32.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, text number 32. Aho bhagyam, aho bhagyam, Nanda gopa brajo kasam, yamitram paramanandam, purna brahma sanatanam. Translation and purport by his great disciple A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. How greatly fortunate are Nanda Maharaja, the cowherd man, and all the other inhabitants of Brajabhumi. There is no limit to their good fortune, because the absolute truth, the source of transcendental bliss, the eternal Supreme Brahman, has become their friend. Purport: this translation is quoted from Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 6, text 149. Back to you.
Srilas Prabhu, can you check if this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita has a purport to it? Or is it the same verse? A lot of verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita, about hundreds of verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita are from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam actually. So there may be purport, I'm not sure. Let's check. So this is again an important verse, very, very important verse. Aho bhagyam, wow, what a great fortune. Hari bol, Hari bol. Whose great fortune? Nanda of Nanda Maharaj. Gopa, the cowherd men. Vraja, Okasam. All the inhabitants of Vraja. Yan Mitram Paramanandam. Why? Because the Supreme Parama, the supreme Brahman, who gives transcendental bliss. What happened? That supreme Lord became their friend, Mitram. Purnam Brahma Sanatanam. He is the absolute truth, he is the eternal, he is the supreme Brahman, he is all complete. So basically, Lord Brahma is first glorifying the cowherd girls, the gopis, in the last verse, that how they were so fortunate, how they are so great, the cows, and now he is glorifying the cowherd men and the gopas. What great fortune that the Lord became their friend. It's so interesting. We just read in Canto 7, chapter 15, Narad Muni was speaking the same thing. To whom? To Yudhishthira Maharaj. What great fortune, Pandavas, you have. Lord was playing with you. Same verse exactly, pretty much. The Lord was doing so many pastimes. He was always present with you. So all the great devotees have this nature. That one very important lesson I feel is this, that Lord Brahma is not envious. He's not thinking, hey, why the Lord did not become my friend? He's the antidote to envy is to genuinely be happy in others getting the mercy of the Lord. It's very, very important. Are we feeling joy in others' happiness, others getting more mercy of Guru, of Krishna? Or am I feeling envious? Oh, how come he get special mercy of Guru Maharaj? Hey, how come he get or she gets special favor from senior Vaishnavas or Krishna or other devotees? So Lord Brahma himself, he is so humble. Himself, he is thinking, I am so fallen. Like a dog, I'm not even worth being a human in the next life. I want to be an animal, but I want to be devotee. Uddhava praying the same thing. I want to become a creeper. But others, he's very, very happy for others getting mercy of the Lord. He's very happy for the gopis, very happy for the cows, very happy for Nanda Maharaj, very happy for all the cowherd men. He's not envious of them. So that's a great lesson that a Vaishnava, a Mahajan, like Lord Brahma, is showing the antidote to envy is to genuinely, from the heart, glorify others and be happy in others getting more mercy. We should not feel, hey, this person came after me, he got initiated, I am still there. Hey, this person came after me and this person is chanting more than me. We should genuinely take happiness and take inspiration. So Lord Brahma is teaching how to overcome envy through genuine humility and through genuine glorification of others. And that's what he's doing. What great fortune, what great fortune. From the heart, not just lip service. Okay, any other comments or questions, additions?
May I say?
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
So if we actually see the commentary by one of our great Acharya, Vishma Chakravarti Thakur, he stresses that the happiness, the bliss in the relationship between the cowherd boys and Krishna is based on the fact also that Krishna is their eternal friend, not a temporary friend, not just for one lifetime, but for all of eternity. And that they get they want to give Krishna the highest amount of bliss. And when they do that, Krishna reciprocates, giving them the highest amount of bliss. So this is the exchange of love that Lord Brahma is witnessing, as he sees these eternal relationships, because he's fully aware of what these relationships are. Now he's been fully awakened, and he's no longer an illusion. And so he sees that here are the eternal associates of the Lord, and they're trying to give Krishna the ultimate highest bliss, and Krishna is reciprocating. So this is our right, you might say our birthright as Vaishnavas, to enter into such relationship with Krishna. However, it cannot be done while we're in a contaminated state of mind, while we're still thinking objects of affection are in the material world, and we're still thinking that this body is so important, that I have interest come before the interest of Krishna. So Lord Brahma has fully realized this, and we are now trying to enter into that spirit by hearing his prayers and his realizations.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for sharing those wonderful words and realizations. So whenever we feel envious, we must glorify that person. Of course, Lord Brahma is not envious, but this is the antidote to overcome envy. Okay, who is now from the Mataji is most excited to read the next verse and you have not read in the last couple of days?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Okay, sure.
Text 33. Isham tu bhagya mahima achyuta tavad ashtam ekadasaivahi vayambata bhuri bhagaha ita dikshika chashahir ashakrit pibama sarvadayo nigrahi udaja madhu amrta shavanti. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's disciples. All glories to Swami Prabhupada and also his disciples. Yet even though the extent of the good fortune of these residents of Vrindavana is inconceivable, we 11 preceding deities of the various senses, headed by Lord Shiva, are also most fortunate, because the senses of these devotees of Vrindavana are the cups through which we repeatedly drink the nectarian, intoxicating beverage of the honey of your lotus feet. Back to you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for reading this wonderful verse. So poetic and so metaphorical. That's the words of great souls. Very, very soft, full of love and full of metaphors. And so again, praising the good fortune of the residents of Vraja or Vrindavan, we cannot even imagine. Lord Brahma is speaking this, that he cannot imagine what good fortune they have, that from the beginning itself, they have like unalloyed love for Krishna. Every particle is Chintamani. Everything is Chintamani, is transcendental. Every word is a song. Every step is a dance. So we, even the 11 presiding deities of various senses headed by Lord Shiva. So basically, every aspect of our body also is controlled by the demigods. Like there's even the Yugaitam Nimishena, we say that. Nimi is the eyelid. So the movement of eyelid is also controlled by a deity. So the aspect is that nothing is in our control. There are different heads who are controlling these. So basically you're saying that the 11 presiding deities of Vrindavan is inconceivable, headed by Lord Shiva, are almost fortunate, because the senses of these, the devotees of Vrindavan, are the cups through which we repeatedly drink the nectarian intoxicating beverage of the honey of your lotus feet. Wow, that's amazing. So basically, Lord Krishna's sweet pastimes, this is my limited understanding, Lord exchanged his sweetness, the honey-like pastimes with his devotees, and especially what? The devotees of Vraja, in full flavor, not just Dasyaras, in all the full flavors, in all the rasas, friendship, humor, as a son we just read, drinking the milk, as a friend, as a lover, as in all aspects, as a warrior. So in all the aspects, he exhibited the sweetness, the honey-like sweetness of his pastimes. So if it would not have been the residents of Vrindavan, how would we be experiencing or hearing the nectarian pastimes of the Supreme Lord? So Lord Brahma is speaking that. So to drink honey, we need something. We cannot just drink honey. We need some medium. So Lord Brahma is saying that basically the residents of Vrindavan or all the Vrajavasis are like that medium, the cup through which we can hear that. So similarly, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is like the medium with which we are hearing the nectarian pastimes. If it would not have been for Prabhupada, the pure devotees, who is actually a Vrajavasi, eternal associates of Lord, then how would we have ever come across Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? So this prayer, these are not just prayers of Lord Brahma. We can meditate upon these prayers. We can try to make these as our prayers as well. Because Prabhupada is eternal Vrajavasi, eternal associate of Lord, coming from the spiritual world. If it would not have been for him, how we would have experienced the nectarian pastimes, how we would have got chance to read or hear Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or chant the holy names. All these are compared to honey. So that's basically the prayer of Lord Brahma. That the pure devotees of the Lord are like the via medium, which propagate the glories of the Lord far and wide, with which common man, like common person like myself, is also able to experience or read or understand the relish, the pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa, which are like honey, the names of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So that's my limited understanding. Please feel free to add or correct if I am speaking anything incorrect. Ramya Prabhu, want to share something or speak anything on this?
If you don't mind, I could share some things said by Vishnuvat Chakrabarti Thakur, which helps us go even deeper in these understandings. It says that Brahma is praying what to speak of the fortune of the Vrajavasis. He said, we also, the demigods, have also become fortunate. And who can describe it? The demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma himself, who are the 11 deities in charge of the senses, have become most fortunate. Through the senses of the Vrajavasis, we have tasted the extremely intoxicating nectar of the sweet sound of Krishna's ankle bells. So in this way, Brahma expresses his determination to see, hear, touch, taste, smell, sing about, and massage the Lord. Besides the 10 senses, there is the mind, intelligence, false ego, and consciousness, and their presiding deities. So Vasudeva Krishna is the presiding Lord of consciousness, and excluding these others, he leaves the 11 senses and their presiding deities. That's who's the remaining controllers. Therefore, Brahma says, we 11 presiding deities of the senses are experiencing Krishna's sweetness through the 11 senses of the inhabitants of Vraja. So he goes on to explain how these demigods are demigods of the material world, but they are representing the demigods, same demigods of the spiritual world, who are also performing functions in the spiritual world. And as they are experiencing Krishna's pastime, so in the material world, these controlling deities are allowed to experience the bliss of these Vrajavasi service. So we can just imagine whatever the Brajavasis are feeling, they are also directly feeling because of that controlling relationship that they have. So I thought that was particularly nice because we could understand that Lord Brahma is personally feeling what the cowherd boys are feeling, and he is feeling quite overwhelmed by those precise feelings. This is the nature of the spiritual world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji, also this is one of the proofs that if we go directly to Krishna, who's the root, everybody is nourished. Because I have heard, like in the regular practice of Hinduism, they say, oh, you are only praying to Krishna. Why don't you pray to Shiva, Ganesh, Kartikeya, and everybody? But this verse is proving that all the demigods are so nourished from the senses that are immersed in Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Okay, one more Mataji who wants to read the next verse. That will be the last one for today.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I can read.
Yes, please.
Dandavat Pranam to everyone. Text 34. Tada bhuri bhagya miham janma kim pattavyam yada gokulepi kadamag dhirajo vishekam yajjivitam tu nikhilam bhagavan mukunda satvadyapi yat padaraj shruti mrugya meva. Translation and purport by Prabhupada's disciple. All glories to Prabhupada and Prabhupada's disciple. Translation. My greatest possible good fortune would be to take birth, whatever in this forest of Gokula, and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. Their entire life and soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is still being searched for the Vedic mantras. Purport. This verse indicates that Lord Brahma's desires to take birth, even as the smallest blade of grass in Vrindavan, so that the holy residents of the Lord's abode may walk upon his head and bless him the dust of their lotus feet. Being realistic, Lord Brahma does not aspire to directly achieve the dust of Krishna's lotus feet. Rather, he aspires for the mercy of the Lord devotee. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that Brahma is willing to take a birth even as a stone in paved footpath in the Lord's abode. Since Brahma is the creator of the universe, we can just imagine the glorious position of the resident of Vrindavana. The Lord devotees achieve their exalted position by unalloyed devotion and love. One cannot achieve such spiritual opulence by any puffed up material process of personal, personal improvement. In Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada reveals the mind of Brahma as follows. But if I am not so fortunate to take birth within the forest of Vrindavana, I beg to be allowed to take a birth outside the immediate area of Vrindavana, so that when the devotees go out, they will walk over me. Even that would be a great fortune for me. I am just aspiring for a birth in which I will be smeared by the dust of devotees' feet. So this is very nice text and nice translation and purport given by Srila Prabhupada, Ji's disciple. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura also explaining here the will of Lord Brahma. And as he is a creator of the universe, still he wanted to take a birth to get the feet, the dust of the lotus feet of the Krishna's devotee. He is not asking directly to the Krishna, but he's saying that just give me the like a birth in the Vrindavana, so I can get the dust of the lotus feet of the devotee. So that is the humble position of Lord Brahma has explained here, and that's what I get it from. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading this such nice verse. So many wonderful lessons are there in this beautiful verse. Number one, Lord Brahma is feeling himself so humble that I am not even yet qualified to get the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. I'm so fallen. But maybe if the devotees of the Lord are more compassionate than the Lord. That's the special quality of the devotees. That the devotee of the Lord is more compassionate than the Lord himself. So Lord Brahma is not directly aspiring. That's the next lesson, that we should not try to directly approach the Lord, because it's impossible. Because the Lord has given the department of bhakti to his devotees. If a devotee says Krishna gave him bhakti, then the Lord cannot say no. So the Krishna has given this department of distributing bhakti to his sincere devotees. Prahlad Maharaj says the same prayer in text number 32 in chapter 5, canto 7. Mahiyasham pada rajobhishekam nishkinchananam na vrinita yavat. Unless they smear, they means the materialistic people, they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination. Persons very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. So unless one takes the dust of the devotee, one cannot be attached to Krishna, who is glorified of his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking the shelter of Lord, the lotus feet of Krishna, in this way one can be freed from this material contamination. So the point again here is Dr. Prahlad Maharaj is explaining that one must take the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees. Now, what does this dust mean? Dust does not mean, Prabhuji, please give me your dust. Prabhuji, I'll touch your chappal and then I'll become purified. Sometimes, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was mentioning, or some other devotee was mentioning, that people were fighting. Oh, I want your dust, I want your dust. And they broke their leg and got a fracture. So, of course, there is a literal meaning, but the more deeper meaning, how can we take the dust of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, is by following the instructions of that pure devotee. It's not just the literal meaning. The more deeper meaning is the Vani. That will please that devotee million times more than someone just takes that. Many people, especially in India, they may touch the feet of great souls, which is a nice thing. They may bow their head or bow their hand and say, hey, I got the dust, which is good. But after that, what? After that, they'll continue doing the same old things they have been doing. But someone may not, be physically very far and may not even see. Many, Prabhupada's disciples never saw Prabhupada, like His Holiness Niranjan Swami Maharaj. But the essence is to take the instructions. That is the real meaning of taking the dust of the lotus feet. So again, this verse also shows Lord Brahma's humility. This also has so many other lessons which we just discussed. Any other comments, questions, any additions?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. This is such a nice translation and explanation of this chapter. Sometimes we as devotees, we think that we are being humble. When we look at Brahmaji in this such exalted position, and he is trying to be so humble, it teaches us that we are nowhere near the humility that we should be. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Thank you. That's the whole essence of this chapter, to make us more humble. Lord Brahma, Krishna chooses his dear devotees, and his devotees are also so merciful, and they're willing to be, called as a fool. Of course, we should never consider it like that, but people may sometimes speak like this. Hey, Lord Brahma was proud. Hey, Lord Brahma got puffed up. But they took that role just for us. They're so humble, actually. They are willing to, dance the way Krishna wants them to dance, just to teach us that lesson. So if that's a lesson we are taking home, that's the essence. Lord Brahma would be very happy. Krishna would be very happy. Very nice. Anyone else? Any other?
I was just wondering if we could get another meaning in here, another direction to look. So how many people here have been to Vrindavan? Can you indicate if you've been to Vrindavan? Some of you. So when you go to Vrindavan, actually in the pastimes of Akrura, visiting Vrindavan, immediately when one arrives in Vrindavan, what does he do? Does he immediately ask, oh, where's Prasadam? Where is my room? I can put my things. Let me go see the deities. Where are my friends? I want to talk. No. Immediately he gets down from the bus or car and he rolls in the dust, covers his whole body with the dust of Vrindavan. So you may see this when you go to Vrindavan, and this is actually the right way to enter in Vrindavan. Because that dust is called Padarach. It is the dust of all the great devotees and Krishna all mixed together. And it contains the topmost blessing. So we should be eager to get that dust and enter into that company by that humility where Krishna's intimate servants participate. That intimate service by taking that shelter. And the shelter begins from the feet in the dust. Did you all know that? So when you next visit Vrindavan, immediately throw yourself down, full body, and roll in the dust. Men, ladies, everyone does it. Then you'll get mercy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Okay, so we will pause here and continue tomorrow with the next verse. Grantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.